US business is said to be in recovery after the economic downturn, but consumers don't seem so sure, while Canada and Latin America appear favored by fair winds. Ideas for picking over in this trade outlook with Lewis Ho, HKTDC's Regional Director for the Americas. Lewis, the US economy is said to be in recovery, and yet there are not the jobs seem to be created, and nor indeed does there seem to be very much movement in the US housing market. So would you say that that recovery is a little bit fragile, to say the least?
Martin, I think if you read what all these pundits have been writing, they are saying that this recovery period is very different from the past recoveries that we have. And I tend to agree with this, because while the US economy has emerged from the recession, it's not creating as many jobs as is in the past. However, when you look at the consumer spending, 70% of the US GDP is based on consumer spending. It's doing quite well. It's doing quite well in the sense that people are continue to spend. Of course, not in the pre-financial tsunami period, but it's doing well. In a way, you have to look at it with perspective.
So, Lewis, does it really mean that a lot of American consumers want these light industrial goods that come through Hong Kong?
You have to go to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas to see they have allocated an entire hall for these smartphones, iPads products. I've never seen such a hall dedicated to these products. And you look at all these Motorola, Sony's, all these companies that are now coming up with products to compete with Apple. It's phenomenal. You go into an Apple stores and you see children, you see adults, you even see senior people. They have Apple employees teaching seniors how to use iPads.
And yet at the same time, one hears that there are all these amazing valuations of, the new tech companies, a new bubble perhaps beginning to arise. But is it going to burst? I mean, what is the perception that you have about the sort of the tech situation at the moment in the United States?
I love this question, Martin, because that's what makes a market. You have people who says the market will go to burst. You hear people who says this is the best time to buy. So it really depends on your own perspective of where the technology is moving.
And I guess you're one of those people who would in fact be buying, I guess.
I would. I wish I had bought Apple 2 years ago. When we look at this social networking scene, you have to really look at what they are really selling.
How would you say the people that you talk to in places like New York will react to the way in which you want to know about Hong Kong suppliers, so that Hong Kong suppliers want to be able to be in this market if it's doing well? However, if it isn't suddenly going to be bad, they want to know this in advance. So what are these guys telling you?
I think they are still coming into our electronics show. They are still coming in to look at good suppliers. These are the buyers of Hong Kong electronics products. However, in addition to just supplying a product at a cheap price, they have to give additional value to what that product means. They have to work very closely with the retailers in terms of helping the retailers to generate this buying experience.
And really, when you're talking about the buying experience, we've talked electronics, but also fashion?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a big change in the US retail business now. Abercrombie & Fitch is coming to Hong Kong, paying this phenomenal rental at $1 million per month. Why is that? It's because they want to use Hong Kong as a showcase for them to move their products to attract the very affluent consumer from mainland China.
That's the big one, isn't it?
It's a terrific marketplace. Hong Kong is the best place for them to showcase these brands.
But this is really the message that is coming to you, is it, Lewis? The fact that a lot of people are really talking now about the Chinese market, the Chinese consumer market, rather than their own domestic market in the United States.
It is. It is. And they have to build up their brands in Hong Kong, brand recognition, and then taking that as a first step for them to move into China.
You look after the whole of the Americas, of course, so you look after also Canada on the one side and Latin America on the other. Yes. How would you view those two markets compared to the United States?
Canada is very steady. Their banking system is very solid, and consequently, it used to be that Canadians would come to the US to shop. Now it's the reverse. And it's strong, it's stable, it has lots of natural resources. Canadian dollar is strong. Latin America is booming. Brazil, again, commodity driven. But having said that, then you look at Chile, you look at Colombia, you look at Peru, you look at Mexico. Population is growing, population is young, population has the disposable income to grow, to buy things. And that's what we Hong Kong do very best.
One of the perceptions that I have sitting in Hong Kong is that many more Canadian and Latin American companies seem to be coming here, looking around certainly. Do you get that perception, and are many of them actually settling in Hong Kong for the Chinese mainland market?
If we look at our trade fair statistics, buyers that are from Canada and from Latin America. They are growing. We look at Brazil, the largest economy in Latin America. We have over 3,000 buyers coming into our trade fairs to source products. And we are working at doubling that number in 2 years.